It looks like Tom Dillon Racing is not going to be racing or attempting to make this year's Daytona 500. Dillon looks like will be racing in the Clash in 2021 for 2311 Racing, and it looks like some qualifying sessions will be moving behind a pit wall on Peacock. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to another video. We got a lot of NASCAR stories to discuss here today on the channel. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. We're going to go ahead and start with all the sponsorship news that came out from today. Let's start off with Love's Travel Shop, is that they are going to sponsor Michael McDowell for 8 races in the 2021 season on his number 34 car. The 8 races they're going to sponsor are the Daytona 500, Bristol Dirt, both Talladega races, the one in the spring and the one in the playoffs, Circuit of the Americas, Nashville, Road America, and the Charlotte Roval will be the races that Love's Travel Shop will sponsor Michael McDowell for the 2021 season. I think this is less races that Love's Travel Shop is going to be sponsoring Michael McDowell for 2021. I wouldn't be surprised if Freight Auctions is a sponsor that is going to step up to sponsor him for more races in 2021, but it's a little bit down from last year, but it's still cool that Love's Travel Shop is continuing to sponsor Michael McDowell heading into the 2021 season. The next sponsor was announced was Hello Water, as they are going to be sponsoring Justin Allgaier for 2 races in the 2021 NASCAR Xfinity Series season, and they joined Junior Motorsports. They will sponsor him in Atlanta in July and Watkins Glen for the 2021 season. The car has not been unveiled at this time, but it's really cool that Hello Water is going to sponsor Justin Allgaier this season. Freight Auctions is going to be sponsoring the Atlanta Truck Series race. So the trucks, I don't know if it's the first or second one. I would assume it's the first Atlanta Truck Series race, but that race will be called the Freight Auctions 200. I think they've had a couple different sponsors over the last couple years, but they have a new sponsor for 2021 at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and I think Freight Auctions is a really cool company, and I'm really glad that that is going to be the sponsor for this race. AstraZeneca is going to be sponsoring Austin Dillon for select number races in 2021. Now, the scheduled race that Austin Dillon is going to have has not been determined at this time, but it's really cool that another company is continuing to sponsor Austin Dillon for 2021. AstraZeneca is a pharmaceutical company, and they've been a sponsor that we've seen. And I think Austin Dillon has been sponsored by them in the past, so they're coming back to sponsor Austin Dillon for 2021. Really cool that AstraZeneca is going to be sponsoring Austin Dillon in 2021. On to the next sponsorship. RCR has got a new sponsor for 2021 as they have landed BetMGM as a new sponsor for the 2021 season. This will be the first NASCAR team to have the betting service done since it was the ban was lifted in 2018. Now, in 2018, the sporting banning, which was started in Dover, has officially over, which started in Delaware, was officially over, and they lifted that ban in 2018. This will be the first time that BetMGM will be sponsoring. It's really, really awesome. And betting is back in sports, and it's really cool that we will see BettingMGM sponsor them in 2021. And now we're going to jump into all of the other major stories that have come out in the last couple days. Let's jump straight into those stories. So let's start off with MBM, which is Carl Long's organization. So there were some updates in regards to driver lineup for the Daytona 500. So instead of using the 49 car that we thought was going to be the car, they will be using the 13 and the 66 for the Cup Series races in 2021. It seems like it's been a back and forth between them because they were going to switch over to the 13 at the beginning of this year. Then they were reminded they were reminded they were going to have to use the 49, and then it was in their junk folder. So they're going to be using the 13 full time. Timmy Hill is going to be driving the 66 car for them in 2021 for the Daytona and probably other select Cup Series races. But here are some changes. Chad Fincham is no longer the driver of the 13 car. Stephen Light is no longer the driver of that 13 car as well. That announcement is going to be coming at a later date. Now, originally we thought Chad Fincham was going to be in the car, but now apparently that is not the case. And honestly, that's really, really disappointing because I do think Chad Fincham is overall a very talented driver, and it's very disappointing that Chad Fincham is not going to have an opportunity to race in the NASCAR Cup Series, at least in 2021. As for potential candidates to go into that ride, I would think Stephen Light could be a driver that is in the running to go to that 13 car. Another driver, and this is a wild guess, Austin Hill. Austin Hill does have association with MBM because of Tory Racing in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. They have sponsorship from the United Rentals, and it's very possible that sponsorship is the main reason that they're not going to have Chad Fincham in the car, and the sponsors that we're not willing to work with Chad Fincham in the Cup Series in 2021. So that's the major reason why MBM is not going to have that. But it is a little disappointing for Chad Fincham, but I think Austin Hill could be a driver that really is in the running for that. And good luck to them. Hopefully they pick a really good driver to take over the ride, and someone very, very talented, and a driver that could be able to wheel the cars and help MBM start growing his organization to get some more rides. On to the next story. Bobby Labonte is coming back to the Southern Modified Tours. He'll be racing in the Southern Racing Modified Auto Racing Tour in 2021, driving the number 25 that'll actually be sponsored by Cookout. Bobby Labonte has been teasing this since a couple days ago. A lot of people thought there was going to be an announcement with Jeff Gordon, but now we know that Bobby Labonte is going to be racing in Whelen Modified Tour, the Southern Whelen Modified Tour Series. It's really cool that Bobby Labonte's got an opportunity to continue racing. Bobby Labonte has still been racing, despite not racing in NASCAR's top series. He's been racing over in Europe in the Whelen Euro Series over the last couple years, and it's really cool he's coming back over to the United States to race in 2021. Even at a very old age, it is very excellent that Bobby Labonte is going to continue racing, and I also think he's in the SRX, if I'm not mistaken. But it's really, really cool that Bobby Labonte is getting an opportunity, and good luck to him in 2021. On to the next story. We're going to go ahead and talk about the Drive for Diversity program for 2021, as that was announced today. 8 drivers are part of that event. This is also partnered up with Rev Racing. So the 8 drivers that are going to be in this event are Nick Sanchez, Roger Carruth, Isabella Robusto, LeVar Scott, Regina Servant, Justin Campbell, Andres Perez-de-Lara, and Jaden Reyna. Nick Sanchez, Roger Carruth, Isabella Robusto, LeVar Scott, and Regina Servant are returning in 2021, but Justin Campbell, Andres Perez-de-Lara, and Jaden Reyna are going to be joining the Drive for Diversity program in 2020. And there's some drivers that apparently are out of that for 2020. My spec is, I think Chase Cabri was part of that group last year, if I'm not mistaken, but now he's not part of that for 2021. As for the Drive for Diversity, they all have a lot of talent and a lot of potential, but the one driver that I'm really excited about is Roger Carruth. Roger Carruth has been a guy I've been supporting since days in iRacing when he's been doing really well over there. He's been winning a lot of races in iRacing, and he's been getting a lot of opportunities in late models, and now he's going to be racing for the first time in NASCAR's divisions in the E-Series, as he'll be driving for the Max Eagles number 6 car. I think he really is going to surprise a lot of people, and I think he's a guy that has a lot of potential. And I really do mean it. I think he's a guy that has a lot of potential overall, and I think Roger Carruth is someone that is going to do great things. But I think that this is a really good class overall, and great additions to this year's class for 2021 for the Drive for Diversity. On to the next story. We have a next driver that has been announced for the SRX, as Marco Andretti is going to be joining the SRX for the 2021 season. I believe Marco Andretti is now the 10th official full-time driver that is going to be racing in this series. So there's only now 2 cars that are available. Now, one of those is going to be the All-Star car. I think that these are going to be the 10 official full-time drivers that are going to be the event, that there might be other drivers announced for time, but they'll probably also end up being part-time. I'm going to be honest with you here. I'm not truly excited about Marco Andretti driving in the SRX. Marco Andretti is a guy that really hasn't accomplished too much, in my opinion. I guess he's trying to set another way and try to get out of the Andretti family and try out some different things, like maybe racing NASCAR, maybe racing, in the sports cars, because he's not going to be racing full-time at IndyCar in 2021, so that's a reason why Marco Andretti is getting this opportunity. But to be perfectly honest with you, I'm not expecting much. I think he's going to run in the back many other races. He only got 2 wins in IndyCar in 15 years, and drivers that competed on the same team that include people like Dario Franchitti, Ryan Hunter-Reay, and Alexander Rossi have contended for championships and have won multiple races, and Marco Andretti really hasn't done much. So I'm not expecting too much, but it's really cool that he's going to have an opportunity in races, and good luck to him heading into the 2021 SRX season, and to everyone else that's racing SRX as well, as we're really are overall not that far away from the SRX happening. On to the next story. Jennifer Jo Cobb is officially once again going full-time racing in the NASCAR Truck Series in 2021, driving 10 car for her own organization in 2021, and she'll have fastener supply companies sponsoring her for the full 2021 season. Jennifer Jo Cobb has been racing in the NASCAR Truck Series for a very long time, since like the mid-2000s, and I think she's really started going full-time about 10 or 11 years ago. But she's been really doing a great job racing for a long time. Yes, she doesn't really run up front, but she's a person I have a lot of respect for, because she's been racing for a long time. And you want all those like long-time owners like her and Norm Benning continuing to race, and it's really awesome that she is still going to be racing. And overall, good luck to her in 2021, because in all honesty, I hope she can make every race. The Truck Series field is really large for this year. There's going to be possibly up to 50 cars that could be attempting to qualify for the Truck Series in 2021 for the season opener at Daytona. There's still a lot of trucks that have not been announced. Thor Sports not announced their plans. You got other teams, too, that really have not announced their plans. And there's also some surprising rides that could be coming in the foreseeable future. But it is really awesome that Jennifer Jo Cobb is going to be racing full-time in the Truck Series in 2021. And yeah, definitely, absolutely good luck to Jennifer Jo Cobb heading into the 2021 season. On to the next story. We're going to talk about the Cup charter moves that are going to be taking place for the 2021 season. These are all the moves that are going to be happening. The 48 chartered owners points is going to be moving over to the number 5 car as that team basically switching over to the 5. The 88 owners points is going to be moving over to the 48. That team is just basically switching up their number for the season to the 48. The 77 team is getting moved over to 99 owners points as they're basically taking over like ownership of that. The 95's owners points is now going over to the 77 as they basically purchase a third charter Spire did. The 13's owners points is now moving over to 23. That's absolutely not a surprise. Let's be truthful here. They basically bought this charter from Germain Racing, and they're taking over the owners points as well. The 37th owners points are now moving over to number 7, which that team, like I said, expanded to 2 cars, and that team ended up getting 3 cars. The 32's owners points is now moved over to 78. This should be no surprise. It's basically continuation to Go Fast Racing, and Joe Fogg is still part of that, so there's no reason that is going to change. And the 15 team's decision will be now the 15, the 27, or the 54. I assume they're going to run 15 all year, but they might change it up throughout the year to numbers 27 or the 54 throughout the season. We're really going to have to see. Those are the Cup charter changes we're going to be happening for 2020. We knew a lot of these were what they expected, but those are going to be the Cup charter changes we are going to see for the 2021 season. On to the first major story of today's episode. Tommy Baldwin Racing is not going to be entering in this year's Daytona 500. Yeah, you heard that right. It's been rumored that they were possibly going to run in this year's Daytona 500, but that is not confirmed. The rumor originally I heard, and from inside sources that I have been hearing, is that apparently they were looking at picking up a former commentator that has not raced in the last 2 decades, in the 2010s or the 2020s. They were also looking at some other full-time drivers, like former drivers, like maybe Greg Biffle, maybe Boris Said was a rumor I heard. I'm just hearing things. But there was really a big possibility that there was going to be a former commentator as the major story. Apparently, Wally Dellenbach Jr. was a name that kept ringing a bell because we said in our group chat, and I said, is it Kyle Petty? No, and as other commentators kept bringing it up. So I really thought it was possibly Wally Dellenbach Jr. because he's not raced in a long time. The last time Wally Dellenbach Jr. raced was around 2005, 2006 in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. It's been a long time. He drove the 35 car for the Renzi organization. So it's been a really long time since he's raced over there. So yeah, there's a possibility it was going to be Wally Dellenbach Jr. There's also still maybe a possibility that team can overall enter at other points this year, but they are not going to be entering in this year's Daytona 500, which is great, unfortunately, which means 2 teams we thought were going to show up are not going to show up. The only other organization we really have no confirmation on is NY Racing. According to Bob Pockers, apparently NY Racing is going to be entering in 2021. They haven't announced anything yet, and they really need to start announcing things really, really soon because they got to have I think their deadline is the end of this week. I think the day of the Super Bowl or Saturday is the deadline to get into Daytona 500, and then haulers are going to have to be loaded into Tuesday because everyone's got to be showing up the track around the day of the Busch Clash. But it is really disappointing that they are not going to be showing up for this year's Daytona 500. It's really disappointing because we thought that they were going to show up, and unfortunately this year they're not going to be showing up. I'm disappointed, and hopefully they are able to show up at points this year in 2020. Probably Josh Blicky not going over there is a major reason because I think Josh Blicky had sponsors, and he's going over to Rick Rowe Racing full-time. But it is really disappointing that Tommy Baldwin Racing is not going to be showing up for this year's Daytona 500. On to the next story. We're going to go ahead and talk about qualifying once again. Yes, you heard that right. According to Adam Stern, some NASCAR qualifying events would be streamed on Peacock under the new sports plan to shut down NBCSN per John Allen. As many of you know, about a week or 2 ago, it was announced that NBC Sports Network was going to be shutting down for after the 2021 year, and a lot of the NASCAR events and a lot of other events that are on NBC are going to be moving over to USA Sports and also onto the streaming service of Peacock as well. As I also do believe that NBC Sports Gold is also going to be shutting down at the end of 2021. This does surprise me. Now, the good news for many of you NASCAR fans, all Cup Series races that are on NBC are going to be on USA Network. According to the clause, all NASCAR races cannot be put behind a paywall. And I think Xfinity Series races are also part of this clause as well. But that does not include qualifying, and this doesn't really surprise me. Now, just because it doesn't surprise me does not make me very, very happy, to be honest with you. I don't like the idea of paywalls or streaming service. Again, I'm a huge fan of streaming service, don't get me wrong, but I am not a major fan of paywalls because you want the sport to overall grow in its exposure and continue to grow as a motorsports. And now the fact that Peacock is probably going to be where a lot of the qualifying events, NBCSN, Fox Sports is not part of this, by the way. The fact that a lot of qualifying events are probably end up being on NBCSN, well, actually on Peacock is actually kind of really disappointing because to be truthfully honest with you, you want more exposure for your sport, and the fact that they basically are going to be cutting off some of that exposure because you're paying a paywall. I don't remember how much Peacock is. I think it's like $24, $25. I have to remember and check how much it is. And yes, streaming is the way things are going forward, and it's really no surprise that NBCSN is shutting down because all the streaming platforms, that streaming is the way to go, and it's going to be a lot cheaper. And NASCAR's exposure for the race especially probably could go up because USA Network compared to NBC and SN has like 60 or 76, 64, 65 million viewers compared to USA Network that has like 90 or 94 million viewers. So you're going to have more of a reach for USA Network, but I'm just not a fan of behind a paywall. I know there's not much qualifying this year, but for 2022, practice qualifying is probably going to come back, and unfortunately, it's going to be going behind a paywall, and that's more money for people that they're going to have to spend. Yes, I know it's a lot cheaper to get a streaming service, but I am disappointed that this is probably the way going forward, and that's really disappointing. I really am not happy about that overall. And now we're getting on to the final major story of today's episode. Something that's been rumored for the last couple weeks that officially got confirmed today was that Ty Dillon is going to be driving for 2311 Racing for the Busch class in 2021. Root Insurance is going to be a major sponsor, as you guys will be seeing on the screen here any second now, and he'll drive the 23 car for them in 2021. Now, a lot of people are really confused about this because a lot of people think, isn't 2311 Racing a team that Bubba Wallace is going to drive? Well, here's the catch to this. NASCAR changed up the rules this year for the Clash. Instead of having pole winners being eligible, I guess they counted the first few weeks with the polls. Instead of having officially pole winners eligible, stage winners this year got eligible, and Ty Dillon won a stage in 2020, and Bubba Wallace did not. So that is why Bubba Wallace is not racing, and Ty Dillon is racing for them. And Ty Dillon was also available, as he's now pretty much a Toyota driver. We know that Ty Dillon is going to be driving for Gaunt Brothers Racing in the Daytona 500 and possibly other races in 2021, depending on sponsorship for that team. And we also know that Ty Dillon is going to be running 4 events for Joe Gibbs Racing in the number 54 car that will be crew chief by Chris Gale in 2021. To me, it absolutely makes a lot of sense that Ty Dillon is getting this opportunity. Here's why they're doing this. Because one, 2311 Racing, if they did not race in the Clash this year, they were going to be at a major disadvantage on the road courses. And this is a great way for them to have a test session on the road course races and really help Bubba Wallace get up to speed Wallace. Because let's be perfectly honest with you, Bubba Wallace is really not a great racer on road courses. He had a chance for a top 10 the last time they were at the Daytona road course, but he got taken out late in the race by Joey Logano and Alex Bowman. There was some scuffle between those guys at the end of the race at the Daytona road course, which that was a really great shame to see because Bubba Wallace is really having a great run, which is very surprising for the road course package. But it's basically a test session for 2311 Racing to get an opportunity to try to learn about the racetrack and get their cars up to speed, since they're basically not going to have any opportunity to race at the beginning of this year. And also, Ty Dillon, I think, overall is a pretty good road course racer as well. And while I don't think he's going to contend against guys like Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., and Chase Elliott, I think are arguably the favorites to win the event, I think Ty Dillon absolutely has a really good shot for top 5 and top 10, and he's probably going to be in some pretty decent equipment to start off, as 2311 Racing is getting their stuff back by Toyota and JGR, so that's a really big benefactor right there. And Ty Dillon's really getting an opportunity, though. Like I said, he's going to be racing for JGR in the Xfinity Series, which is the best opportunity he's had. He raced for Germain Racing and got let go after the contract. They had issues, and they ended up selling the team and their charter as well to 2311 Racing. So Ty Dillon technically is still in that charter, though he's with another organization. But Ty Dillon's not managed by RCR anymore. He's working with Toyota teams, and it's really cool that Ty Dillon's going to get this opportunity. And yeah, honestly, I am a little surprised. Well, I was originally going to be a little surprised if Ty Dillon was going to go to Gaunt Brothers. Originally, we know that he's going to race for them. But I think it's a really good opportunity. It's been rumored for the last couple of weeks that this was going to happen. And according to Jeff Gluck, apparently the car that you guys have seen, that actually is not the official Root Insurance car that we're going to see from Bubba Wallace. Apparently, it's going to be a one-off deal with reinsurance. So we know that they're going to be sponsoring Bubba Wallace at points in 2021. Apparently, that is not the final car that we're going to see for Bubba Wallace in 2021, but that is the car we're going to see at least for the Clash. And let me just say, that car you guys just saw is really, really nice, and it's going to be very, very noticeable on the racetrack. I like the DoorDash car a lot too, but this Root Insurance car is really close up there. The designer for 2311 so far, I think, is overall done a really good job. The car is very simple. It's not too complex, and overall, it looks like a really good race car, and I think it looks really cool. But it also, I think it's a really cool opportunity for Ty Dillon to get an opportunity to race for a pretty decent organization. I don't think he's going to win, but I think he's going to do pretty decent in 2021 for the Clash. And maybe this will help him get some opportunities if he does well enough with other organizations and top-tier organizations, maybe help Gaunt Brothers Racing get up more to speed for 2021. So, anyway, that is going to be for today's NASCAR news video. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe to the channel, turn notifications so you be notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Links in the description below for that. And comment your thoughts on today's video. What are your thoughts about Tommy Baldwin Racing not racing in this year's Daytona 500? Do you wish they were racing this year or not? Let me know in comments below. What are your thoughts about NASCAR qualifying events being streamed on Peacock? Do you think it's a great decision to move things behind a paywall or not? Let me know in comments below. And what are your thoughts about Ty Dillon racing for 2311 Racing in the Busch Clash? Let me know in the comments below. And let me know how you think he's going to do in the Busch Clash as well. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you do like so YouTube can recommend more of these great videos out to you guys. If you do that, I would truly and greatly appreciate that. Anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.